Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Cal Jammers out there in the world. I've got a very special guest. I have a lot of special guests, as you know, and this is a very dear to my heart person that because she's so friggin' beautiful. Carol Ann Malizia. Can you say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone for us out there in Cal Jam Land?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all those Cal Jammers. I can't wait to see you in March. I intend to bring the entire population with me to California.
I love it. And I'm really, really stoked to have you on the stage. This is your second time, right?
Hey, thank you so much. I love it. The
Because you
chicks with
know
the
me,
tick.
I love rocking hot chicks on the stage. I'm sorry, it's just part of the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing that goes way back with me. Because
Oh,
it sells, all right, whether they
you're
like
so
it or
funny.
not. But we're going the opposite direction. We're in now. It's chiropractic and rock and roll to bring about longevity. So give me a little idea about what you are bringing to CalJam. We just had a little discussion, and it was like there's so many things I want to touch on. But why don't you start it out for me? What are you
Well,
bringing to CalJam this year?
I think that, first of all, you have brilliantly created a theme called the Truth Tour. And I think that, first of all, the people that you're assembling are just embedded not only in their own truth, but what they really want to bring out of people. You know, I learned early in practice that we can say a lot, but what's really important is what you bring out of someone, the conclusions that they come to. And I think in today's day, we're really focused on raising happy, healthy, drug-free families and children. And I also think that we have firmly embedded ourselves in the understanding that this triune of health, which started way back in 1918, thanks to Alma Arnold, this chick with the tick from New York,
Tell me
started.
about her. I don't know about Alma. Alma who?
Most people don't. She practiced at the same time that Dee Dee and BJ did. She ran two practices here in New York, the New York Health Herarium, and oh, by the way, she was taking care of a group of workers that were building something mildly significant called Ellis Island. And
I
the
don't know about
head,
Ellis Island either.
yeah, Ellis Island is where the Statue of Liberty is, dude.
Oh,
Fly to
dude,
my
I don't
part of the.
know that.
Come visit. Come visit. We need to do Cal Jam Rocks New York. Whoop,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
never
get this
do the
one under
same.
my belt first, and then we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
You
So
bring that up to
anyway,
Jane.
yeah, I will. So this chick was rocking it, and she got discovered by the head of the labor union who hauled her down to Washington, D.C., and introduced her to Clara Barton. And this chiropractor became not only the chiropractor to Clara Barton, she became the first chiropractor to have dual practices, one in New York and one in Washington, D.C., and she took care of Congress. But back in 1918, early 1920s, what do we know about women? We were not allowed to hold a license to drive. So she bought one of the first
That
generation
is
Model T
amazing.
Fords and hired a driver.
Wow, and how come she's never come up in chiropractic history? I mean, as far as my understanding chiropractic history.
I will tell you, many moons ago, a brother that you and I share dearly, Dr. Gilles LaMarche,
Yes.
asked
How can
my
you
other
not love that
sidekick,
dude?
yeah, my other chick with a tick, Dr. Liz Anderson, Peacock, and I, to research women in chiropractic for a Parker. And we dug out all this information about Alma Arnold, and I'm telling you, dude, her stuff has been around for 96 years asleep. And I swear to you, with every cell in my body, I will bring her work to the masses because she had it going on in 1918 all by her little self in the New York Health Herarium. Nobody even knows when she died. She was rocking it in practice some 40 plus years
That's kind of sad, in my opinion.
in New York. Yep, amazing woman. But this paradigm, we talk about this, at least I know we did for years in our practice and in the doctors that I've mentored over the years, trying to talk to patients about the fact that you have to have structural integrity, chemical integrity, and mental and emotional integrity. And it's no different when we look at the same population when we look at the military. For some reason, that is where the huge passion in me is just like lighting the end of a dynamite stick. Because the veteran community, which, by the way, in California, you have 1.9 million of the 22 million veterans in the entire United States are in California. So they are in your communities. They are everywhere. And they need what chiropractic has to offer, and they need what Whole Food has to offer, because they are a very unique physiology, especially those that have served in the more recent conflicts. We know for certain there's something that I like to refer to now as the veteran triad. Just like in chiropractic, we talk about structure, chemistry, and brain. Same thing, or mental and emotional. Same thing with a veteran. We want to talk about their gut, because you have to stabilize their gut. Because what do we know about the veteran community? They've been assaulted basically by vaccinations and things like meals ready to eat, or MREs.
MREs, I just learned about those.
Meals ready to eat. Okay, add water, get veal parmesan. Now, granted, it's a boatload of calories, but those are things that the body in its inherent wisdom does not necessarily know how to utilize and break down, because they're not necessarily real.
Because there's no enzymes in there either, right?
Big time.
Right.
So we've got the structural assault these guys and gals are under. Then we've got the chemical assault these guys and gals are under. And then we have to talk about the mental and emotional capacity limitation by repeated deployments. What I mean by that is, we know, Chestnut in his brilliance has always talked about that allostatic load. And the allostasis, okay, what are the rocks in their sacks? Oh my gosh, they've got it all. Physical readiness, chemical assaults, and then what they go through mentally and emotionally. And you cannot address those issues without addressing the nervous system, the whole food component to that, and then what we need to do to revitalize the brain. Now, we know that when we look at food, there are certain foods like tuna omega, great omega-3, but we want to really push that omega-3, and there's nothing better than something called calamari oil, because it's so high in DHA. It's about 500 milligrams higher than your average tuna oil. So when we start to look at the value of whole food, what's the application to the gut? What is the application to the adrenals? What is the application to the brain and cognitive function? This is where it becomes a really important paradigm. And I don't know about you, but I see parallels. I see parallels in what we talk about to all of our clients about the nervous system, as far as now we just turned it into a military healthcare paradigm. And wow, we need to be at the center of that conversation to help what's going on.
Right, and my question to you earlier was, why hasn't Big Pharma stepped in and tried to maybe prevent this from being even possible?
This is what I know. I know that there are forces that create resistance, and without resistance, you don't get change.
Right.
And I think at 22, averaging, the literature shows about 22 suicides a day in our veterans.
Oh, that's 22 suicides a day in veterans.
Yeah.
I thought that was across the board.
No. For every one that we lose in active combat in theater, we lose 22 a day to suicide.
And I guarantee you all those people are doped up.
Well, I can tell you one thing.
A high percentage of them.
I can tell you one thing. I think that we need to seriously look at a big, lofty goal. Like when I talk to the Patriot Project and look at their goals, they won't stop until there's a chiropractor deployed with every unit. I mean, how much would that affect readiness and resilience if after you've been out on your tour during the day, that's really stressful, and their day is like 26 or 28 hours long, you come back and you get an adjustment, and maybe you have a general health pack with your MRE. So at least there's some food that's going into these guys and gals that can help their system not break down under the allostatic load. Right. So what's really interesting is that the military is really starting to study a word that I think really kind of started out with us, and it's called salutogenesis.
I like that word.
Well, talk to Dr. Christopher Kent about it. Talk to some of our, brilliant minds in chiropractic that are really focusing on this word coming to light. I mean, it's really appropriate for the military. I mean, the word salute is right in the word, salutogenesis. It's to create health, the creation of health. How do we study the creation of health versus combating disease, the pathogenesis of disease? I mean, that is such a paradigm shift, but I'm going to tell you, sure shooting, as you and I are in our 5th decade, buddy, I'm going to tell you that the military is going to get this healthcare paradigm shift correct. See, when we look at CAM, which I find very interesting, that CAM is my initials, kind of like now I'm feeling like this is my purpose in life. I don't look as CAM as complementary and alternative medicine, because I don't think, Billy D, that we are complementary.
No, we're not complimentary. I was going to first say that. I'm glad you said it. Okay, thank you.
My earrings complement my outfit, and I am not that. Chiropractic is not that. Not that, right? So I think that we need to be collaboratively part of this conversation. That's my word.
Right.
So I'm really big on the.
And I don't think we're so much alternative anymore either.
I don't think so either.
I think we're almost mainstream. I hate to break that news to people. I think anybody that looks at us as alternative is just maybe resistant to change, or they're still embedded to some degree into the whole allopathic way of thinking.
Great distinction. For me, I think that CAM stands for Chiropractic, Acupuncture, and Menu Management. That's what I think CAM stands for.
Right.
Because right now they're instituting something called Battlefield Acupuncture, which is really interesting. They're teaching their military 6 beads in the ear that's designed to lower their cortisol level. So they're understanding the connection between adrenal fatigue and adrenal insufficiency and resilience, readiness, et cetera, et cetera. So as far as I'm concerned, chiropractic is immersed in this conversation. And it's really important that we say, okay, how can I help the veterans in my community? How can I get a hold of them and start holding workshops for them and talking to them about the triangle of health, talking to them about the veteran triad, talking to them about stabilizing their gut by using whole food, stabilizing their adrenals by using whole food, stabilizing the cognition and supporting their brain function by using things like calamari oil, things that they would never know of before. It's simple, it's elegant, and when you combine it with chiropractic, it works.
Right. That's amazing. I just find it like, why hasn't this been implemented sooner, too?
I don't know. I think that now is the time. I think that there's been so much. You know what I think? I think that our generation, the generation that went before us, went to jail for what we did.
Right.
Our generation has been just trying to fit in. Where do we fit in? Where do we fit in? And really looking for identity. And I think that the power of not only the educational process through CalJam, but the power of the dissemination of information in a way that it's done.
The power of what?
The power of the dissemination of information
okay.
is such a gift to the next generation. And I really believe, Billy D, that's how you're influencing the next generation, because the next generation is going to grow up collaboratively with other professionals that are the same age.
Right.
I think you see that split. There's been 3 generations. You know, the ones that went to jail. We've been the ones that have been the trailblazers that are showing what's possible by building, large family practices. But also this next generation, they're going to be working on buddies of theirs that are MDs and osteopaths and pharmacists saying, hey, buddy, why give the drug when you can just take a plant? There's room for that collaborative
conversation. Why take a drug when you can get adjusted?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I don't think it's about us versus them anymore. Matter of fact, I would really love to lead that conversation. I think too many of us have not had the opportunity to really, what we do is simple. It's science. It's not anecdotal anymore. It's evidence informed.
Right, but what about the whole concept with what Patrick says a lot, that we've just got such poor or negative brand equity? There's people wouldn't go to chiropractic. I feel it so much with social media and my interaction on social media, how much people truly, for whatever it is, disdain chiropractic. And, I know it's unfounded. And I know it's just because they are misinformed or they just really have no idea. I don't know where that disdain comes from, to be honest with you.
I think it's really important that we focus on not being a part of it. I think that we focus on really moving the light forward, moving science forward.
Good point.
Because let's face it, you do not want to compare statistics with the medical profession. They do not have a really high rate of, all of those things. When we start looking at deaths,
customer satisfaction, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
You don't want to go into the comparison. You really don't. I think what you do want to do is you want to look at how can we collaborate? How can we collaborate to make what you do work better and more efficient and less financially taxing on the system? The system is imploding all by itself. It doesn't need any of our help.
Right.
but it does need our help and collaboration. So I think that the answer to the negative brand equity is to not contribute to the negativity.
Right.
I think some of us have got to get a little stronger to really police our own and say, that kind of broadcasting is coming off, you look like a scam.
Right.
Don't look like a scam.
Right.
We have to police our own and just say, no, that's not right. That's not right. So I think we've got to be a little bit more professional.
I mean, I think there needs to be kind of a line drawn in the sand, in my opinion, and let me know your opinion. And this is a great conversation we're having. I know people will love it or hate it, but that's the way it is in life. I mean, I think chiropractic's really about the goal of chiropractic is to promote health, and through viable nutrition and through exercise patterns and through proper mental and, thought processes, proper rest. And that's that's always been my gig. But I think medicine really has nothing to offer as far as healthcare. And I've asked people for years, tell me one thing that a medical doctor does that promotes health. Now, God bless their souls. They are amazing in emergency crisis, and I think that's where we need to draw that line in the sand. Hey, medicine's great when you got somebody that's got their arm blown off, or we've got major crisis, and they put people back together, and they do an amazing job at saving lives every day. But and Chestnut uses that that analogy. You got the fire department, and then you got the chiropractor that comes in and puts things back together through health care, not through crisis disease care. And I think when we get that delineation set in the sand, then we're going to have a better chance for what I consider collaboration. But why don't you delineate what you meant by collaboration?
Well, I echo your thoughts. I really believe that, first of all, this is what I know. Being born and raised on West Point, and I've had contact with a fair amount of active duty and veterans. And I'm going to tell you that life-saving surgery is just that. It is 96.7. That's the new statistic. 96.7 active duty survive combat injuries. That's unheard of.
Right. That's amazing.
That's unheard of.
Right.
The challenge is they may survive. We might be able to keep them alive. What is going to sustain them? And I think that is our part in the conversation.
Right.
Because the medication is only going to take them so far.
Right.
And there has to be this collaboration. There has to be, because totally, okay, if I have 800-pound IUD go off under my Humvee, they are not calling in the chiropractor.
An 800-pound what?
IUD.
That's an intrauterine device?
No.
You're throwing all these terms
at me. Explosive device.
What is it?
IED. I as in I, E as in exit,
okay,
and D as in dog. IED.
And how am I supposed to know these abbreviations? You threw the MRE thing at me too, and I didn't know what that was either. But
that's okay. We're all here to learn from each other, and that's the point. Is learning.
Does everybody across the board know what these abbreviations stand for?
I don't know. I think that just like in chiropractic, just like in whole food, I never knew what a prosymbiotic was or a probiotic was.
Right.
We learn the language of what's relevant.
Right.
For many people, the public don't know what a subluxation is.
Right.
The public also didn't know what cholesterol was a long time ago.
Right.
So I think it's up to us to be responsible to learn what is relevant in different environments. And I'm with you. I really think that you're going to get a generation that's conscious, a medical generation that's more conscious, a pharmacy generation that's more conscious. And I think that we are educating them in that direction to be more collaborative. I don't think you're going to see the resistance.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's got to be a lot of political resistance that goes on when you.
Of course. Until you get to a mother.
Right,
you talk to a mother that's lost one child because they committed suicide, not because they were lost in a red zone.
Right.
And I really believe that is where, women have always had value in collaboration. And I've learned this a lot from just listening to, a great fan of chiropractic, retired Brigadier General Becky Halstead.
Right.
She talks a lot about being judged by our standards and not by our gender. And I think that the standards that we put out as chiropractic emerges in part of this collaborative conversation is, look, we do not do what you guys do, but we can sure make what you guys do really
better.
sustainable.
Right, right.
We can sustain these guys. You know, when we take care of some of these guys, and I watch them with the Patriot Project, these are guys that have lived in pain for a really long period of time. And I don't have to tell you the impact of a chiropractic adjustment. That's why I enjoy being a spokesperson for them, because, you know, people don't know that they can live without pain. And I think that's the most important part, is making them part of the paradigm, making them say, hey, dude, you got to be responsible for your structure, what you put in your mouth, and the thoughts that you think.
How'd you ever end up down that road to begin with?
What, with military?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was born and raised on West Point.
Okay, I know
and
that.
My sister she's part of the first generation of women at West Point with General Halstead. They were in the same class.
Okay.
And so 30 years later, they were celebrating women at West Point, and General Halstead was flown in from Iraq on her R&R leave, and it was my sister's company that was sponsoring the event at West Point. And of course, what do sisters do? They come to you and say, hey, I don't have any speakers that are talking about
And you stepped
will
right
you
up
do
to the
me a
plate.
favor? Of course I'm going to say yes to my sister. So I do.
Of course,
So I go.
mean, plus we love speaking.
We loved it.
Because
So?
it comes from our heart, you know. That's what that's what it's the hardest for me to understand is, I mean, chiropractors are such lovers. I mean, most of us across the board. I mean, money is nothing that's ever driven me, and it's like, I just want to help people, and I want people, it's not like, you know, obviously I'm a very anti-vaccine kind of guy, but I'm not against people if they want to do it. I'm just trying to offer people alternatives to what they've been offered before, and if they don't want to take it, I'm not there forcing it on them. It's like,
Correct.
it's
Correct. And it's happening
just
all
give
around the
people
United States.
choices.
It's happening all around the United States. There's a nonprofit that started some time ago. Look them up on Facebook. It's called SSS, Stop Soldier Suicide. They have just connected with over 200 NET chiropractors, neuro-emotional technique chiropractors, so that these guys, when they call in, have an opportunity, guys and gals, have an opportunity to make a choice. They can either go to a conventional therapist, or they can select to be seen by a chiropractor that specializes in neuroemotional technique. This is huge. There are huge strides that are being made in the name of tragedy, really. I mean, because lost lives are tragic as far as I'm concerned, however they come. But for me, this issue about the military is that, look, you guys go, you girls and guys go and put your life on the line so that I can do this. So that, you know, my greatest contribution of the day can be making sure that I take care of people, or getting to my office, or what I'm going to have for lunch that's going to keep my weight down. I mean, that's so minuscule. I mean, these guys are every day. They don't know if the garbage in the street is a bomb.
Yeah,
I mean, to live like that.
I can't even imagine living
We
that
can't.
life. No, I can't.
We can't. And to
and
not
the other
be
side
part
of the coin is I
conversation.
can't even kill a spider, let alone having to kill another human being. To me, is that's just me. And I mean, and I know, you know, that's part of the job that they have to do.
Right.
But and I totally respect. I mean, that's definitely got to affect their psyche and their
there's a whole science to the moral injury of that, and a healing that I really, really believe that our profession can support. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I talk about what I talk about, and hopefully can start to impact and influence more of our profession.
Not hopefully. I mean, obviously, you've made major inroads. True?
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I just need a bigger tank.
A bigger tank? Like with the, you know, the treads on it and everything? Is that what you're talking?
Love that. Love that. I was born the wrong sex. I really like big toys.
You know what? I was thinking about making a tank shirt for CalJam, but I'm getting flack from my, you know, younger techies.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's all right.
I like rough stuff too. I like stuff with a little edge to it, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Give me
I don't like to be all white toasty, kind of bland, boring.
I understand. It's got to have a little
edge.
Edge. I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, sweet. I just want to let you know how much I love and appreciate you and everything that you do and stand for, and I'm really looking forward to having you on CalJam again this year.
It's an honor.
Know you'll bring it. You're the perfect package for CalJam, and I just want to let you know that. And I want
blessings to you, my friend. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, we're going to save the world collectively. As I always say, rock and roll, baby.
Rock and roll,
Okay,
baby.
I'll
I gotta
talk to you
get
on the
that
flip
right.
side. I will talk to you soon.